Okay, next is going to be the Itemancer, book number 1, written by Forrest Minter. It is 93 pages, another short story. It is $3, and available on Kindle Limited. I'm like, don't read it, don't buy this, but definitely, that's a good read on Kindle Limited. Here's the author's description, though. Rowan Loran is an apprentice Itemancer, able to alter the properties of an object with a touch using a special type of energy called XP. His masters work him hard, and he is content with his lot. Everything changes when a marauding dragon attacks his sleepy hometown, and he kills it. Suddenly, he is sitting on an unbelievable pool of XP, enough to make him a god. So there you go. This is a short story that starts off with a rather well described and unique RPG progression system based on the items and gear in this fantasy world, getting experience points and gaining levels and powers rather than people. It's inspired by the Disaea video game series, their game mechanics in this particular series, which alone was enough to get me to read the story. When I read that in the comment section of this novel, in the description from the author, I was like, oh, I like that video game. It's actually a really fun series, and it's RPG related, but it's also a different kind of RPG system, which is why I was like jazzed to see it here in this novel. I was like, oh, that was enough to definitely get me to pick it up. So the main character in the story, he kills a dragon by accident, but he gets so much experience points from his Itemancer amulet and sword that he uses. He gains the ability to create his own upgrades for items. He uses this to turn his sword, his amulet, and his knife into some very pretty ladies, apparently. And the four of them essentially go on adventures, and that's the story. It's not super complicated. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's not like super serious and like, oh no, we have to defeat the evil lord or nothing. It's just them goofing off, having adventures, and some light flirting. There are minor harem elements. There is no sex, though. There's not even any romance. It's just mostly slice of life adventuring with severely overpowered group, and they get into trouble and they joke around, and that's kind of the highlight of it. Overall, it's a nice short read. It tries to be a different progression system. Eventually, it transforms into something more familiar. Like that uniqueness about the beginning and that system eventually fades away and it becomes a little more familiar, but that's okay. The author gave it a shot, and I appreciate that, essentially. I enjoyed what was here. I don't think I'll read a book 2 on it, but it was still nice to see someone attempt to do a different kind of RPG progression system. And so I definitely give the author kudos for that. For me, it gets a score of 7.1 out of 10. That's going to be the Itemancer, book number 1, with the score of 7.1 out of 10.